Welcome back. You're still watching Power Breakfast. Now, an important cue to watch today will be the AGR verdict. The Supreme Court will pronounce the verdict in the AGR case at 11:30. Ashmit joins us on the phone line. Ashmit, take us through everything that has transpired so far, as long as the expectations today.
Well, first, as far as the AGR verdict is concerned, it is something that the telecom sector will be watching very carefully. This is with respect to three key issues that the Supreme Court will decide. The number one is, given the mammoth size of the AGR dues in question, keep in mind the total AGR demand against the likes of Vodafone Idea is 58,000 crore rupees. The total demand for Airtel is somewhere in the vicinity of 43,000 crore rupees. So given the mammoth size here, the question that is currently before the apex court is, what should be the staggered payment timeline? How many years should these telcos be provided to pay out the dues in question? Now, towards that end, there have been multiple submissions. The government is seeking 20 years. The telcos themselves, Bharti as well as Vodafone, are seeking about a 15-year timeline. However, Tata has suggested about 7 to 10, 8 years before the apex court. So the big question is, what will be the timeline that will be allowed by the Supreme Court? That's the first key takeaway. The second key takeaway is, can the spectrum that is currently in possession of companies, telcos that are currently facing IBC proceedings, can that spectrum be sold? That is something that will be of key interest to bankers in question, to get an understanding of what the dues can be realized, provided that spectrum can or cannot be sold under the IBC. That's the second key question that the Supreme Court will clarify on. And finally, the third key takeaway will essentially be, will there be additional liabilities slapped on the hands of the likes of Bharti as well as Jio on account of spectrum that they shared with insolvent telcos such as Arcom and Aircel? So three key questions that will be answered by the apex court today. The judgment is expected at 11:30. This will be one of the major verdicts offered by Justice Arun Mishra before he retires. He's due to retire tomorrow. So key indicators we'll be watching out for. We'll, of course, continue to track the action from the Supreme Court beginning 11:30. Back to you.
All right, Ashmit, thanks a lot for that. We will, of course, touch base with you again at 11:30 when the verdict is out. But staying with the telecom sector, then, after 6 extensions, Bharti Infratel has finally decided to proceed with the Indus Towers merger. My colleague Kritika Saxena joins us on the phone line with more details. Kritika, take us through the details of this merger.
Well, yes, finally this has gone through. Now, the shareholding is actually in line with what we were expecting. So what the exchanges have said is that Vodafone PLC will hold about 28.2% of the merged entity, PP 3.2%, that is Providential Fund. And the total for Indus share swap is 31.4 and Infratel shareholders 68.6. Now, we've been able to break this up and we've gotten a confirmation from the company as well. Effectively, Airtel will hold 36.7%, Vodafone PLC 28.2%, Providence, as I said, 3.2%, and the balance will be 31.6%, which will basically be the public shareholders that are currently in Infratel and Indus. Now, what does this mean for Vodafone Idea? As expected, and this is a big positive for Vodafone Idea, they will be getting a cash consideration of 4,000 crore rupees in lieu of their 11.5% stake in the Indus Tower entity. That is, of course, pre-merger. But to secure this, Vodafone Idea and PLC will enter into security arrangements with Infratel. Net, what does this mean? It's not just a closure to a deal that was signed in April 2018. This will also give deleveraging options. 4,000 crore rupees for Vodafone Idea, yes, but the entire stake that Bharti Airtel holds of about 36% stake is a big deleveraging lever for Bharti Airtel.
All right, Kritika, thanks a lot for taking us through all of those details of the Bharti Infratel and Indus Towers merger. With that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Power Breakfast. From the entire team, thank you very much for watching, and you stay tuned because Bazaar Morning Call comes up next.